Hey guys, you ever just wonder, no, why does it feel like the older I get and the more I sort of learn and stuff, it feels like there's like an inverse correlation between understanding and livability. Like, I feel like there's a point where you shouldn't know things if, like, the ability to live and sort of endure and just function as a human being is at odds with understanding, being objective, or being sort of this aspirational thing. Like some perfect moral being who's rational and just and self aware and like hardworking and successful. I feel like it's mutually exclusive with how much you sort of understand what's going on behind the curtains and the machinery. For example, um, something that we all have to do as humans is deal with paradoxes of life, like the fact that we're all going to die one day, or that you really can't change your past and you're born in situations and circumstances that you can't control even if you want to, and then also being thrust with the responsibility of fixing that and of steering the course of your life and deciding and all of that. And it's just these things don't have answers or any clean, neat, way to deal with them. But they are undeniable. It's like we will die, but yet life is salient in the moment. Like right now, even though I know that my emotions and everything are, you know, temporary, I still am overcome by emotion. I still am overcome with, humanness, human weakness, um, desires, loneliness, all of that. And even though, I feel like once you have this understanding of, not understanding, but sort of an acceptance, you're like, okay, I will die. Therefore, technically, anything I do won't really matter in the grand scheme of things. And I can do whatever I want, or I can, nothing's that bad if we're all gonna die, right? But yet, it's like, it doesn't really solve the question. It just makes you feel like you're sort of defective for still being pulled by the same things. A lot of people just try not to think about stuff like that, and they can be very high functioning, and I feel like that is the crux of it. It's like the people who are actually moving and doing things and living life are the ones who sort of avoid looking at it too closely. And that is just, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not like that anymore. You just kind of realize things and think about things, and you can't go back, and it's kind of just depressing. It's like you are stuck, and everything broke, and now you have to pick up the pieces yourself. sometimes it feels like, I don't know how I'm going to adapt. Like when you were raised a certain way and you realize it, doesn't work, or you realize that the skills or the methods you learned to deal with things and that worked for you before become something you outgrow or something your environment doesn't need later. For me, it was sort of this tendency to have a very, internalize a lot of things. So instead of, blowing up at people when I'm angry, or being expressive, or, just voicing my opinions if it rocks the boat, I sort of focused on mitigating it. I could gaslight myself into, I would try to have this sense of, epistemic integrity, of that, you know, I should be this rational, objective, moral actor and minimize harm that I cause, and just not being messy is a big thing. And just the issue with it is just that I thought for some reason that it would sort of be mirrored, or I thought that other people were sort of in on this, that we all had the same base sense of, objectivity, or, hey, people say we should be rational, people villainize people for not being rational, or just, lying, or all this stuff. And I thought that people were on the same page. And I kind of walked through life thinking that a lot of people are just being ironic in how they act and how much they don't see. And then you realize that, people just don't think about that. They don't think about a lot of things. And, they're able to live, and they're able to just move around and stumble and, be human. And they don't sort of have this, spectator inside of them that watches and judges them for living life, freely. It's like I'm always auditing myself, trying to see if I was being fair, or if, I'm being too much, or if I should do this. And the worst part is there's no solution. There's no, even if I was, or even if there's some objective thing, you can't fully, there's no solutions, there's just trade-offs. And that's what I kind of hate the most. Everything you do and every decision you make, there's everything you think you do or choice that you make, even if it seems like it's the correct thing or something, there's always a counterbalance to it. You can't just, win money and stay ambitious or be a hard worker. You can't be born, super attractive and have all these, have all this attention from your admired, demographic, and then still feel this urge to better yourself and grow in order to feel more desirable. It's like the good things have bad things, and the bad things have good things. And it's just annoying because there's all that, and then you kind of have to decide what's important to you. But then what if what's important to you just isn't important to the rest of the world? What if your values are just kind of somehow taken out? It's like you're kind of an alien, what you believe and what you care about. Honestly, in America, it's not so much that you're valued because of how you help, or, even your productivity a lot of the times. With capitalism, it incentivizes showboating attention. You want the most eyes on you, and you sort of want you want to be able to move people's emotions in order for them to buy from you, because you want money, and money flows through people more than even your skill set. That's something that kind of annoys me. Is that at the end of the day, sales is like the most important thing, and sales is more about dealing with people than with facts. If you actually try to want to help somebody too, you know, they won't trust you unless you can play with their emotions, or unless you can corroborate with them or something. But a lot of the times you have to nudge people, and not rationally but emotionally, and people do that in a lot more negative connotations than trying to help you. And it's very easy because we're all human and emotional, and we all have our triggers, and those triggers can be very easily exploited. So yeah, it just sucks because it feels like once you like look at that, and you look at like, and you just, at least for me, I just get annoyed. I get annoyed looking at when people say things and contradict themselves, and they don't even try to like be consistent or be honest, and they'll lie to themselves, and by extension they'll lie to you in like good faith, and their ignorance is a bliss because they don't think they're doing anything wrong, and their intentions weren't to hurt you, or their intentions weren't to cause harm, so therefore they don't think about it. But I'm somebody who thinks about the impact and the results of your actions, regardless of your intentions, because it was how I would sort of, how I learned, you know, to, how I learned. That's how I learned about consequence. I thought that it's just annoying because the more you worry about your impact and how much you affect other people, you realize how it's impossible to completely, not affect other people. And that just by living, you consume, you bump into people and do these things. And that's kind of just an annoying thing to think about. And then you're told, oh, this, you just learn how to live with this stuff. It's so unsatisfying being told this stuff by people who don't think, or just so much, and your only respite is, oh, just like you'll learn to carry it better. Not that it gets any easier, you like learn something and it helps you. It's just that, oh, somehow, some way, by living on, you just like you'll be able to deal with it. Yeah.